Exterior de España will be eliminating its shortwave broadcasts as of 0 hours Madrid local time on October the 15th.
As of 0 hours Madrid local time, Radio Exterior will be received by means of satellite, internet, and digital terrestrial television, or DTTV, on the following satellites.
For Europe, with Astra 1M, orbital position 19.2 degrees east, frequency 11,626.50 megahertz, and vertical polarization.
For South America, with Hispasat 1E, orbital position 30 degrees west, frequency 12,052 megahertz, and vertical polarization.
For North America, with Intelsat Galaxy 23, orbital position 121 degrees west, frequency 4,191.35 megahertz, and vertical polarization.
For Asia and Oceania, with AsiaSat 5, orbital position 100.5 degrees east, frequency 4,000 megahertz, and horizontal polarization.
And for Africa, with Eutelsat 5, orbital position 5 degrees west, frequency 4,000 megahertz, and circular polarization.
Besides reception by satellites with worldwide coverage, the broadcasts can be heard live over the internet on the Radio Exterior website, www.rtve.es/radio/radio-exterior.
Our programming will continue being broadcast in Spain over DTTV and the RGE1 multigrid.
These changes mean that Radio Exterior will modernize its broadcast as of 0 hours local time in Madrid on the 15th of October, and will offer its programming over satellite, internet, and digital terrestrial television, known as DTTV or DTT.
Welcome to Listeners Club, the program in which we read your cards, letters, and emails. My name is Alison Hughes.
And I'm Justin Coe. Our studio manager today is Miguel Leon.
As announced, Radio Exterior de España's shortwave broadcast are to end on October 15th.
So this just may be our last Listeners Club.
Indeed.
Should we still give our address?
Justin, by all means.
All right, then. Our email address is very simple and straightforward. And it will remain, I believe, being our email address in the future, english@rtve.es.
Certainly will remain our address for a while. We're all digital. So postal delivery for those analog types would be Radio Exterior de España, P.O. Box 156202, Madrid 28080, Spain. Mentioned to our listeners before, Justin, we've had a petition going on at the radio to prevent, if we could, at least a protest against the closure of the shortwave services. And it's been impressive. We've got a lot of signatures from workers at the radio, at television.
At least 700, because this morning, and the television in Torre España, a different part of Madrid from where we are, but we were there for a couple hours, and about 150, 160 people signed.
That's great. And of course, the reason why we continue to have what could seem like an insane optimism is because the management, the top management, the president of the corporation, TVE, is going to be changing. And then there are elections, and we just can't help but fight to the bitter end for Radio Exterior on shortwave. So there's another operation underhand called change.org. There's a petition being presented online that anyone can sign, not just the workers at television. Anyone, is that right, Justin?
That's right. Change.org is becoming well known. I've only signed one petition previously, but I just signed this petition, and right now there are 350 people who have signed it, and the petition is under the headline "Queremos que no cesen las emisiones en onda corta de Radio Exterior de España." We don't want the broadcasts in shortwave of Radio Exterior de España to be suppressed.
So one question. Can our listeners, sign this petition?
Yes, the website, this petition is in Spanish, but it's clear if you do a search in www.change.org under the name Radio Exterior, if you put it in between quotation marks, then it gets specific. You just get a couple that are specific to Radio Exterior. But in those, if you do a search, you'll find this petition, and they're asking the Culture Ministry and the Foreign Ministry of Spain not to close down the shortwave broadcasts, pointing out that the broadcaster Radio Exterior de España is not very expensive compared to the money that the other radio stations and television stations in Spain cost. Also, they point out that the audience is the largest of any of the broadcasters, Spanish radio broadcasters, and they point out that there will be an immediate loss of 90% of the audience of Radio Exterior de España, especially in Spanish, well, I suppose in our languages, but in Spanish, because there isn't a lot of, in Latin America, there isn't a lot of internet or satellite coverage.
No, and I'm afraid, given the content of many of the letters and emails that we've been receiving over the past 2 months, that it's also true for the foreign language listeners. They're real shortwave, and we've been getting lots of emails saying I'm a shortwave listener. I will try to tune in if I can, but podcasts and the internet just don't do it for me. But maybe we should get to reading. I think you have a letter there.
Yes, I have a mail and a genuine letter from Italy, from Lissa in Italy, and it's dated September 24th, and it was sent from Florence. Dear Sirs, and it's sent, by the way, from a listener named Giovanni Ritti. Dear Sirs, I write to you in order to send a reception report on your broadcast of September 22nd, 2014. The frequency was 9665 kilohertz, English language, heard from 19 hours to 1950 UTC. SINPO was 44434, receiver, an Eaton satellite 750, antenna, telescopic, 80 centimeters long. The program started with the news, whose topics were the Ebola virus, the Middle East, Pakistan, and protests in Hong Kong. Then, at 1908 UTC, sports news, this was a Monday obviously, started and finished at 1923, when it was up to then the next thing was the press review, in which you talked about the referendum in Catalonia and its government's late president or recent president, Mr. Pujol. After that, the musical part of the program started with the songs Arena, Hoy Canto Para Ti, I Threw a Coin, and Blues de la Crisis were played. These were by Freddy Aguado and Osi Martinez, a blues duo from Madrid, who were in to visit us. And I think I actually did a live program with them, and that was in Spanish. I'm getting confused here. And this was probably just their recent album, the latest album. I know that by the time this letter will come to you, your station will not be on the air anymore. So this report will not be very useful. By the way, I would like you to send me a QSL in memory of your shortwave broadcast. Well, Giovanni, you just arrived. We
If we can.
received your letter just in time, so we are still on the air. So actually in this broadcast we'll be saying goodbye to our listeners in North America and Australia, because this will be the last broadcast to that part of the world since Wednesday at 12 o'clock local time, until midnight local time that our broadcasts that we stop broadcasting. So we'll be broadcasting again tomorrow, Tuesday, and there's an Africa in Europe. If this report is correct, says Giovanni Enrique, you could send confirmation to Giovanni Enrique at the address given in his letter. I do disagree with the decision or management made of discontinuing the airing of the radio services by radio waves in order to concentrate on the internet. Listening to the radio by a radio receiver and by the internet are not the same thing. Internet is very useful for radio stations and listeners to find easily schedules, persons, podcasts, etc. But internet can help radio, not take its place. Yours faithfully, Giovanni Enrique in Lucca, Italy. Thank you very much, Giovanni, and if I can, I would like to send out something to listeners, even if it's after the fact, after we've stopped being broadcast on shortwave, and we'll see what we think.
Yeah, let's hope so. Well, I have a reception report and an email from our loyal listener in Alberta, Canada, Richard Lemke, and he listens on a KRC-NRD 535 with an antenna of random long wires in the trees, and he'd been listening to us on October the 9th and heard the 16th century Spanish music hosted by Justin and myself at 0 hours to 57 minutes frequency on 6055 kilohertz, and he used 6053.9 kilohertz. The symbol was not good at all, and he said, then he heard North by Southwest, and he said, reception very lousy this evening. Best regards, Richard. Well, that's a shame, and I know that happens then. Richard also sent a letter, an email on Saturday, and I'll just read it. It says, Dear Alison, after a warm, nice autumn day, October 10th, at 22 degrees centigrade, lots of blue Alberta sunshine, I'm asking you to do a favor, and it's to ask other listeners to check their larger computers to see if the text will not disappear after the third line comes on the main writing at the top. And of course he's referring to our, I think he's referring to our podcast. Says, I'm lucky I can read everything on my Apple iPad and the Mac computer. The third line is on and shot to a small pieces. Have a great Monday. Thanks for being on the air with English language broadcast of Radio Studio de España. Hi, Richard Lemke. Thanks, Richard. And we will check into the cutting off of the third line.
Yes. How's you've
Oh, we have some sentimental music, yes. It's just something to say to those every time, something specific to say to our listeners.
Thank you very much.